you. Thank you, IP. Like I've already said, it's important that we do a serious overhaul is done in the civil service. Because you find, I'll give you an example. Yeah. There's a director of finance, okay, who was at a particular ministry, a big ministry, okay. He was involved in misappropriation, embezzlement. You remove that person and transfer them to another big ministry.
As a punishment.
Are you, as a punishment, are you curing anything? Nothing. You are making a bigger problem. Because even where that person goes, is going to create the same cartel and mess up the same way he messed up. Okay? So it's important that the civil service is realigned, is cleaned. You see what I mean? It's cleaned. There's no harm, but it needs to be cleaned for the head of state to achieve his vision. By changing merely the PSCs, the ministers, okay? All those ministers and PSCs will be messed up. And you'll still say, it's the politicians. Another government to come, put new PSCs, and you find the country is not moving. The country is stagnant. Okay? The country will receive a lot of support. There's a lot of resources, domestic resources to implement the policies and the vision of the ruling party. But you find there's a failure. There's a clog somewhere. Where's the clog? You find the clog is in the civil service. But and yet you are busy pointing at the politicians. Let's take them out. They look at, they haven't done this. But the ones who stops the movement, it's a civil service. That's why it's very, very important that there's an overview, that there's a review, there's an overhaul of the civil service. Then you are going to achieve the much needed development, the vision of the president in terms of the fight against corruption. Because sometimes you even go for wrong people, and they're seated there and say, I know there was too much pressure. So political pressure, I signed a wrong thing, because you know the way it is. That's their defense. You know the way it is. My bosses are saying sign. But in the same thing, he's also involved. He's got a cut in the same thing. You see? The boss is coming on a higher level, but he's also got his cut in there. Another guy who's taking papers has also got his cut in there. Mwachenga wa senda fefi, utole palapa bank, wasaina, na wena wakatamo cut yo. So everybody, you see, now, you know what happens? People stop working. They just wait for those deals. If it's a normal file and doing a normal transaction, it will sit at someone's desk for 3 days. It goes to director for 10 days. It goes to another director for 10 days. By the time the process is done, you can't achieve. That is how the civil service works. But if they know, Munika Tupin Kanga, you take the file, put it in his armpit, takes to director of finance, he signs, again carries it in the armpit. It takes to the PS signs, again in the armpit, until the cashier gets signed, type the check if it's way back. If now it's just a transfer, the transfer goes, oh, Kapita, boss, Kapita ka message. That's what they do. And how do they work? They'll sit there waiting for that. They'll knock off, they'll go and pass to places. Here's a K2 pin. Here's a K3 pin. Where are we going as a nation? Because we should look IP for our children's children. Are we going to leave this country a better place than we found it? Some of us even benefited a bit of free education in the Kaunda era. Are we going to leave this country better? That is a question all of us, yourself, myself, and other